I've always loved dinosaurs. Something about these creatures has always fascinated me, capturing my imagination as a kid, much as they did for many others. One of the focal points of this for me was Jurassic Park. These videos that we select are from a list of movies that I admire, enjoy, or even adore. Jurassic Park is one that I often underestimate, as I don't usually think of it immediately. Then I quickly realize, yeah, it is one of my favorite movies. When I consider what makes this film so special, I originally tried to condense it into two main points. First was the John Williams score, which is just so infectious. It's an amazing score and one of the most iconic ones he has ever produced, with that awe that it suggests meshing with the intense danger that our protagonists face, which matches the events and themes of the film's narrative. The other one was, what I have often said over and over again about Jurassic Park, the special effects. Not only are these some of the best special effects that have ever been seen on film, as they've held up extremely well, it has always been my go-to example of balancing practical effects with digital ones. This is one of those movies, much like Spielberg's Jaws, which pretty much changed the game. While Jaws had great effects but used that lack of them to create suspense, basically creating the summer blockbuster, Jurassic Park elevated special effects which would influence CGI in film in the decades that followed. George Lucas was inspired to create the Star Wars prequels after seeing what could be done here. Okay, maybe a bad example for some people, but many films which utilized and built upon this technology may have never been made without it. Lord of the Rings is probably a better example. But the point is, Jurassic Park's visuals, even the CGI, still look better than some of the CGI that's come out in recent years. That's probably because it was only used when necessary, fused with some amazing animatronic dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is certainly recognized for its music and remembered for its visuals, but is that why I love it and so many other people do? Well, that's certainly part of it, but after watching it again I found that I couldn't simply boil it down to just those two things, as if they were the only elements that make it a great movie. There are many working parts, the film being paced as an action-adventure, leading into basically a monster movie with some interesting, thought-provoking concepts. It's pretty classic sci-fi stuff, messing with nature and facing the consequences when we are too overconfident and less careful than we should be. I wondered if the characters were the weak point, as it has been pointed out before. And after going back and watching the film for this video, I often found myself just as intrigued with the conversations between the characters as I was with the dinosaurs. I'll admit that perhaps they could have been fleshed out a bit more, definitely not being the most complex characters ever put on screen or anything, but I don't think that this film called for that. These people felt like real people. Even with the writing much more focused on plot beats, it kept their conversations interesting, and didn't just use them as stopping points between the dinosaur scenes. This type of character writing is simple, but extremely efficient, if not minimalist per se. Malcolm, Ellie, Lex, and Tim, they're all believable and likable enough, both for the awe-inspiring and frightening scenes. You can feel their awe and their fear as they witness the dual nature of these prehistoric creatures set loose. Dr. Grant is actually my favorite character though. Yes, Sam Neill will always be Merlin to me, but this is certainly his most iconic role, and it works. His uncertainty over having children changes as he finds his instincts as a father figure, running to the rescue of the kids without too much of a second thought, and forging a bond with them throughout the events. It's simple, but it works, and it's relatable, and his journey is really at the heart of the story. I wonder if there is some personal element to the story of John Hammond, perhaps from the director, the writer, or some of the other filmmakers. I remember really liking John Hammond as a kid.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
He was that guy. Though his hubris dooms his park, as Malcolm suggests it will, I still feel that Hammond really did mean well. A scene that didn't stick out to me as much that I really liked upon rewatching it was when he was discussing with Ellie, Dr. Sattler, about his experiences creating his first theme park. He wanted to use Jurassic Park to inspire people, ignite their imaginations, and simply bring happiness through it. His desire was really to make the world a better place. As he figures out by the end though, he went about it the wrong way. I couldn't help feeling a little sad for him. Sometimes best intentions do not align with the methods used. I wonder if that sort of creative dream can be connected to any endeavor, including filmmaking. Much in the same way that Hammond wants to bring these dinosaurs to life, this film manages to bring them to life in its own way. This is one of those great examples of the true magic of movie making. Even though I know and I'm still amazed by how those dinosaurs were created for this film, often when I'm watching, I kind of forget they're not the real deal. Isn't that an example of brilliant filmmaking? Jurassic Park could have been an impressive but kind of hollow monster movie, but instead it elevated special effects to make a sci-fi adventure film with a well-paced plot, big ideas to ponder, and truly likable human characters to hold it all together.